Hayes is a psychic medium and life consultant. How are you tonight, Rick?
I am doing fantastic, and I love your show title, Close to Death. I'll have to change that a little bit up for you a little bit because I believe that death means an end. We don't end in life. We just simply transcend and go on in life. So I'm going to change this to life to close to living continually. How's that?
Okay, that sounds really good. Yeah, you know, the reason why I actually started Close to Death was to go into the near-death experiences and kind of, talk about those. But a lot of people were like not wanting to really talk about their near-death experiences and stuff. And I was like, well, okay, then we're just going to open it up to all things paranormal. And it just happens that, that you have a book that focuses on life after death. And before we get started on that, tell the audience a little bit about who Rick Hayes is.
Well, I share with everyone, I grew up in a small community in the Midwest, and I do have a little bit of a southern twang, and I was just in another part of the country over the weekend, and I shared with, and they asked me, they said, "Where you sound like you're like from the southern states," and I shared with everyone, I went to Florida to college for several years, and I guess I just ate one too many grits while I was down there. I don't know. But I grew up in a very church-oriented atmosphere because my mom's a preacher's daughter. My grandfather's he moved home when I was about 7 months old, but he was a very highly respected evangelist. And so I grew up being taught that there's more than just life here. But I was also, as far back as my memory can recognize, probably about 4, 5, 6 years old, I was seeing those and hearing those that everyone was saying was no longer with us. And so growing up in the community I was in, and plus my family background, we just kept these abilities to myself until about 12 years ago. It was actually 12 years ago in March, and I began sharing them with the public and experiencing my life to share basically this was my purpose in life. And so from that, the last 12 years, it's just been, I share with everyone, it's been a phenomenal, continual opportunity, which we're going to share a little bit about tonight too. But it's been a continual purpose in my life. I'm living my purpose life, and it's an exciting life each and every day.
And that's so cool that you say that because, I didn't really understand the abilities or the things that were happening. I didn't know that I had even abilities of being an empath or something when I was little. I was just having all these weird dreams and weird deja vus, and I couldn't explain them, and, having dreams that would come true, weeks later. And so I really didn't know that, paranormal was actually what I needed to be doing. You know what I mean? It was like I had this job that, you always dreaded going to, that you were just going through the motions, that you're just, day by day by day, and it was just so mundane. And then when my mom passed away and I was in this big, huge depression or whatever, I just watched how can I communicate with her, all these shows about it. And then, I started in the paranormal, and I'm serious. It's so weird. It's like everything is just like, falling into place now. And I may not be getting paid for what I do, but I love it, and I'm passionate about it, and I'm actually happy in this field. So it's very cool how you just said that, for years you were just trying to hide your abilities, and you were probably living and wasn't extremely happy, all the way that you could have been, letting people know that you have these abilities and helping people with them,
Absolutely, Selena. I love what you said about your own abilities, because I'm the first to share that when we're created on this earth, we're given many abilities, many opportunities, and many abilities, including the ability to know that those in spirit are around us. But as we're growing up, as children, we're told it's a coincidence, we're told it's imagination. We start blocking the abilities within us, and the key in what you've done, you knew, you felt it, you knew it, and what you've done is you began evolving your abilities by dissolving these blocks. And it's so what I share in my abilities is I feel we all have those abilities. It's just a matter of recognizing and focusing on them. And and exactly right what you said. I mean, I had a successful corporate career. I'm the first to share with everyone. I'm very, very happy to be out of the corporate world.
Yeah, right.
But
Meeting.
But I mean, I had a happy life in the sense of the way my life was going and what I had and the success I had. But at the same time, you're right. Throughout my life, especially my adult life, I recognized that it was not my purpose. And my grandfather, especially, that kept sharing with me, this is not where you're to be. And so the time came in March of 2003. That experience gave me the opportunity to say, this is where I need to go along my path. And so, that from that point on, I when you're following your path of purpose, and you're living the reasons why you have this life on earth, is when you really embrace what real happiness really is. I still have my days. Where I grit my teeth and pull my hair out.
We're still human. We're still human.
Absolutely. And and the older I get, the more I realize I'm not moving as fast as I used to. But I mean,
yeah, right.
It's still a life that I know. Those I meet. I was at a large expo over the weekend, and somebody came up to me that I was there last year, and they came up to me and said, "You're always so positive," and to me, that's how you should live your life, and to recognize that life is a continual process, and you learn from it each day.
Right, you do, and you learn from the good and the bad. There's been the last several months have been a little bit tough because jealousy can be really ugly, and the problem with kindness thing also comes into play. It's best to stay positive, because when you put out positive, you get positive back. If you put out negative, you're going to get negative back. That's just how my thought process is, and I just don't deal with negative very well at all. I try to get it out of my life and out of, my head, so that I can go positively and live, I feel like this is my path. So, you have to shed all of that negativity. And you were talking about on a post today that I was wanting to talk to you about baggage. That was a very, interesting analogy, because you're at the airport and you're like, really, how much stuff is in, the baggage that you carry around? It's kind of what I got from it. How much baggage are you still carrying around with you? Shed some of that stuff. And it was it's like, God, you know what? Everyone does have baggage, and some have way more baggage than others. Even traveling, but it's explain that to the audience, kind of your meaning behind that.
Well, first of all, we're talking about my Facebook, part of my social media we do each, and first of all, about 2 years ago, I've been on Facebook now for about 2 years, but about a year before that, my admin, the person that takes care of all my admin, he contacted me and he said, Rick, he said, we want you to, he said, you need to get on Twitter every day and just post something every day for the social media marketing. And I said, what's a Twitter? And I didn't even know what it was.
That?
So,
right.
So I got on that and I thought, well, this is pretty cool. And then about a year and a half now, maybe 2 years ago, he a few months after Twitter, he said, okay, we've got you a fan page on Facebook and a personal page on Facebook, and at the time a radio page on Facebook, and he said, you get on there and post something on there for social marketing. And I said, what's a Facebook? So, but I gotta say this, I really, truly enjoy getting on there. I get on there each morning, and individuals, many have asked me, they said, where do you come up with what you post? And all I can share is that whenever I'm sitting there at my desk and I know that it is my time in the morning to write, it just comes to me. It just and just like the one you're talking about this morning, I just returned yesterday evening from a travel to an event, and I had all this. We carry several different pieces of luggage and baggage when we go to these events, and so as I was unpacking them, I was thinking of this when I was packing before I left But when I was unpacking them, especially last night, I was looking at them and I thought, each piece of baggage that we have incorporates the pieces that we need to put into these different pieces of baggage. They fit for those pieces. And I thought, we carry baggage in our life, and, that is a part of life. And each of us have baggage that we carry. We can try to put in pieces into that baggage that's not going to fit. In other words, we may try to put in our anger into what the experience that we had, but it's not going to fit. In the long term, it's not going to fit. And so what you got to do is understand that with the baggage that you're carrying, you've got those that are around you that are guiding you in spirit. So, and plus with your confidence and removal of fear, you can fit those pieces where you can carry those easily through your journey in life. And so, as I was writing that, I thought, well, it just started. I started really thinking about it. And I thought, this is so similar to what we carry in our life as far as baggage. So that's how that particular post came about. I just enjoy writing when I write those, and I especially love to hear the responses I get from the posts that I write. That inspires me just as much as writing is itself.
Well, it's like, there's a few posts that I've seen of yours, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I totally get that, you know what I mean? And when you come up on my news feed, I'm like, oh, I totally relate to that. And then, Joel Osteen, I'm not 100%, like believing everything he does, but I'm telling you, he's a very inspirational guy. And, some of the quotes that he says are pretty inspirational. I'm like, I'll put you in with that Joel Osteen kind of thing. It's like when I'm having a crappy day or something, all of a sudden there's a post and I'm like, wow, all right, that's cool. All right, and I feel a little bit better. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Selena. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And then if you go to the fan page, and now my fan page is more focused on, I share my thoughts on the different, my thoughts on the paranormal end and the spirit and those in spirit end and those in this industry, and I share my thoughts. I'm the first to share with everyone that some of the thoughts I share is what I feel and what I know and what I believe from the abilities I've been given. But at the same time, when Rick Hayes moves on and he sits down with his creator, may say, "Sit down, Rick. We got a lot to talk about because you were wrong on a lot of things." So,
right.
So, but I mean, there, on that page, I share a lot about. Whenever I began 12 years ago, there was one focus that I knew that I would follow, and that is for me to be me. I was not going to focus on others in psychic mediums. I wasn't going to try to be like them. I wasn't going to try to follow them. And in fact, about a year before I actually came out in the public, I was listening to at the time, he still is, John Edward. He was on a radio show, and I had an opportunity to ask a question on the show. And when I finished the question, the producer came on as soon as I finished, and he said, "Will you stay on during the commercial break?" And Mr. Edward came on during the commercial, and I did not share at the time of my abilities, but he came on, and in so many words he shared with me, he said, "You got an amazing gift. You need to make it a part of your life." And so he recognized that. And so, and there's one now out there in the field that is from Long Island that is very popular right now. I'm the first to share with everyone I have better looking hair than she does.
You mean, I know who you're talking about.
I'm talking about Teresa Caputo. She's a sweetheart, and she's, and once again, she's bringing out to the public eye that there's more than just life here, whether you want to believe it or not. She is doing that, but she's a sweetheart. Everybody always asks me, they say, "Have you heard of Teresa Caputo?" I say, "Yeah, I have better looking hair than she does, by the way." So.
You do have great hair. Let me tell you, I saw your hair Who was it that I was talking to that said, "Oh, I think Rick's just a modern day hippie dude," and I think it was Blaine Rohan. I'm not sure, but I'm like, him being a hippie. Look at you. But
and
yeah.
Selena, the thing is through my corporate career, I had to be,